Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and I'm kind of doing a fingerstyle add-on to my lesson on Faith at the Heart, the Enterprise main theme. And we're going to kind of work with kind of some fingerstyle ideas through this. And basically with fingerstyle, your thumb becomes your bass player. Your index finger's job is going to be to play the G string, and we'll change that later on actually to match the recording a little bit. Middle finger normally will play the B string, and the ring finger plays the high E string. So basic arpeggio actually normally is going to run thumb, index, middle, ring. And arpeggio just means broken chord. So rather than strumming the chord like we did in the other lesson, now we're kind of taking that chord and breaking it up with thumb, index, middle, ring. Now with fingerstyle abbreviations, a lot of times we refer to classical guitar abbreviations, and classical guitar is kind of based on some Spanish methods that got written in the 1700s. So the thumb sometimes is referred to as P for pulgar, index is I for indeso, and middle is medio or M, so that kind of makes sense, I and M. Then the ring finger is sometimes called A for angular. So it's kind of going thumb, index, middle, ring, but in classical guitar you'd be thinking P-I-M-A for that arpeggio. P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A. And for our verse, to kind of open it up, our C major we'd be doing the A string on the 3rd fret for our bass, so the thumb's kind of riding on the A string. And then when we get to the A minor chord, we'd still have an A bass for the A minor chord. On the G major, we'd be doing the low E string for the bass on the G major. And then for the F, if you're doing the F major bar, you'd have the low E string for your bass on the F. If you're doing the F major 7, you'd have the D string for your bass. And then for the G major chord, we already talked about that, we'd have the low E string for the bass. Now the one way to play through it fingerstyle actually is kind of to take that C, and for every one chord we had before, we're kind of thinking 2 with our arpeggio. So we could kind of start out with C, C, but then half an A minor, half a G, F, A minor with an A bass, A minor with an A bass, F with a bass, G with low E bass, F with a bass. Another way to kind of work it arpeggio-wise, though, is because of that feel at the very beginning, you may want to think, instead of working it that way, kind of going to the middle 4 strings. So now I'm going thumb to the A string, index on the D, middle finger on the G string, and ring finger on the B string. And this is kind of a weird arpeggio, but you could kind of play A, D, G, B with kind of the P-I-M-A that we were doing, and then take the middle finger and go to the high E string, and then come back with A, M, I. So now I got P-I-M-A, M to the high E string, and then A, M, I, kind of working the B, G, and D. Which can be a very, very cool thing to do. Now on the halving chords, the A minor, G, and the F and G, when we get to that, we could still keep that with the P-I-M-A, and then kind of ride it out on the F. Now with the F major 7, it doesn't work quite as well, but this works really well with the F. You can kind of get in that high E string in the arpeggio. So we tried it that way. You'd have C with the C, C, A minor with an A bass, P-M-I-A, G with low E bass, P-M-A, G with the P-I-M-A, M-I-A, M-I. And then we got the A minor with an A bass, A minor with an A bass, F with low E bass, G with low E bass, F with low E bass. So you may want to kind of think about you doing it that way. C, C, A minor, G, F, A minor, F, G, F. And then from there we'd be going into our pre-chorus. And on our pre-chorus, actually, if we kind of tried that with just that P-I-M-A just to kind of warm up, your E minor would have the low E string for your bass on the E major. And then on the F major, if you're doing the bar, you'd have the low E string. And then actually there's a cool little chord change actually on the F major 7, you got the D bass. But there would kind of be on that second F, you could kind of play it as an F, and then something called F/E, which is where you take a F major chord, and from the bar F, you kind of lift the first finger up to get a low E string for the bass. And that, for the F major 7, you could even kind of fake that by going to 2nd fret on the D string, and kind of get a little move to get to the D minor with kind of the D bass. And then from the D minor, there's kind of that big push on the G major. You may want to think about trying to use all the fingers together for that G at the end, kind of going all together twice and kind of together twice. So you may want to kind of play around with that. So we try to pre-chorus that way. We have E minor, F slash E, D minor, D minor, G, 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 G. So you may want to kind of play around with that. Now adjusting the other arpeggio that we were doing, where we're kind of using that longer arpeggio for each chord, E minor's still got the low E string for the bass, and it still kind of works for the F. Doing the F and the F slash E, you kind of have to half. And then the D minor, we kind of have to adjust the arpeggio a little bit actually on this, kind of switching to the top 4 strings and going thumb, index, middle, ring, middle, index, and coming back thumb, index. So now I'm going P, I, M, A, M, I, P, I. It's kind of an adjustment for the D minor. And then you can still keep your hits for the G. So if we try our pre-chorus with that arpeggio, we'd have E minor, E minor, F slash E, D minor, D minor, D minor, and then G. And then from there we'd be going into our chorus part. And our chorus, actually, we could just try that with the PIMA. We'd have the C with an A bass. And then we have the F major with a low E bass, or if you're doing the F major 7, we'd have the D string for the bass. And then the E minor, we already told them, has the low E string for your bass. And then we get to the C, you got the A bass, F's got the low E bass, E minor's got the low E bass, and then we kind of half an F and a G. And then when we kind of go repeat it, we got the C major with the A bass, got the F with the low E bass, or the D, F major 7 with the D bass, and then the E minor with the low E bass, and then we got the A minor with an A bass, and then we got the D major with the D bass. So we tried the chorus that way with just the PIMA. We'd have C, F, F, E minor, C major, F major, E minor, F major, G major, C major, F major, F, E minor, and then A minor, D major. And then if we tried that with the other arpeggio where we're going P, I, M, A, M, A, M, I, kind of working the middle 4 strings as kind of our bass, then we'd have, the only weird part is where we got kind of the halving of the F and G. So we got the C, F, F, E minor, C, F, E minor, half an F, half a G, C, F, F, E minor, A minor, D major. And you kind of have to adjust that D major kind of just like the D minor from before. And then from there we go to our outro part. So then we got our F major, and we could just try the outro with the PIMA. We'd have F, F, G, G, and then C, F, and you may want to adjust that last part on the outro. C, F, F, G, and then you could kind of do it all together kind of thing on that C major. I'm kind of doing a little roll on that. And then we try our bigger arpeggio on that. We kind of that P-A-M-A, P-I-M-A-M-A-M-I. Then we'd have the F, F, G, G, C, F, F, G, C. Now on that last C and F, it almost feels like it's syncopated. So you may want to kind of play around with kind of an F, G, and C, and then kind of hitting the F a little early on that. Oh yeah, that worked really well. You could do the C kind of with the A, M, A, C, P, I, M, A, M, A, M, and then hit the F, and then do your whole arpeggio. So we'd have the C, F, and then F, G, C. Kind of a cool way, kind of cheating that last index on the C. So all the way through the outro one more time, you got the F, G, that's the basics of how you could fingerstyle your way through Faith of the Heart, the Enterprise theme song. So good luck.